Hi, good afternoon. This is Captain Drew Cavanaugh with Florida Inshore Fishing Charters, Mosquito Lagoon Site Fishing Charters, located here in East Central Florida on the world famous beautiful Mosquito Lagoon you see here in front of me. Here in Oak Hill, Titusville, New Smyrna Beach, Cocoa, Daytona Beach. And today is April 18th, Friday. Good Friday, everybody. It's Good Friday. And this is your Mosquito Lagoon Indian River Flats fishing report for the beautiful springtime weather we're having here in Central Florida. So let me begin by saying this. The next few days, yesterday, today, the next few days, we're getting this major front coming through. Bad rainstorms, heavy winds. So what a better time to do a fishing report and tell you how it's been. Next week looks like the 21st through like the 27th, long-term forecast. As far as they go out, looks phenomenal. Great typical weather here, mid-80s, sunny, light winds out of the east, just beautiful conditions. And then of course when we get into May, typically May is really good and June's just really great too. July, bring on the tarpon. August, bring on the tarpon, and so on and so forth. So that's the great thing about living here in Florida. It always is great. So let me start out by saying this. The past several weeks we've had some really phenomenal days of fishing. I mean, it just seems like it just can't get any better. You know, you get the weather days that are bad and all that, but typically the days have been starting out with finding some great tailing action at first light. Of course, at first light, I'm going to go through some DOA lures here that I like to talk about. And of course, at first light, one of my favorite lures I like to have my clients throw even before the sun's up, even as the sun's up. And those first few hours in the morning, especially at tipping up redfish and some slow-moving fish. But for the giant trout that you can get, there's nothing better than the shallow runner bait buster, DOA bait buster. Of course, you always hear me talking about this lure. I'm talking about the color selection. Stick with your natural colors. I like the white, the red. This is a natural mullet looking one. You can't go wrong with that. But as you're out there searching the flats and there's tailing fish, we're getting some really good tailing fish at first light. The key is, as always, I'm begging you, I'm begging everybody, if you're out here on the lagoon and you're new to the area and you're not sure where you're going, just don't go venturing around. The past few weeks, man, I got some really good pictures of people bottoming out on sandbars and just tearing up the grass bed. Just be careful where you navigate. Also, if you see other anglers fishing, you have to remember that this water on average is about 2 feet deep everywhere. Don't assume that they're anchored in one spot. Assume a boat, if he's flats fishing and pushing the boat, he's going to cover an area that goes thousands and thousands of yards in one direction. So draw a circle around him and just give him a wide berth. And unfortunately, you know, that's the way it is. That's why I say if you treat a lot of them like hunting, a lot of you're fishing out here like hunting, you'll be okay. Because say to yourself, well, that guy's got a high-powered rifle, I got a high-powered rifle. We need to stay away from each other. So that's a good thing to do. First light, when we're getting out there tailing redfish. These fish are moving off the deep waters onto the flats at first light. They're feeding. Approach them as always, like I always say. First thing you're going to look for is mullet, sun at your back. Take your time. Do not need a trolling motor. The trolling motor is worthless out here. It does you no good. If you push that boat hard enough, you can get up into areas. A trolling motor is good to make up a distance. I'm not going to say it's a bad thing if your boat's big enough to use it and carry the batteries and all that. But my theory is that's an extra 200 pounds of weight. My boat goes extremely shallow, like a lot of the flats boats out here and skiffs, so we're pushing on the flats, and a trolling motor is a great tool to make up massive distances or get you into a general area, but you can't use it to chase the fish, because that's what you'll be doing, is chasing fish all day. But when the fish are tailing and you approach them, here's another good lure to use, the good old DOA Shrimp. Again, natural colors. You can never go wrong with that. The nice thing about this color is when you're throwing it to them, you can see it, I can see it, the fish can see it, versus throwing at something that's like a dark green or dark black color. You know, it sinks in the water, then you lose sight of it in relative position to the fish's mouth. The other lure, of course, one of my favorite all day, you know, is the cow right here. You could put this on a weedless hook configuration. You guys know I like to do that a lot, put a bullet weight on there. So on and so forth, like that kind of setup. But one of my other also favorite lures that a lot of people don't use, and I like to use it, especially for the black drum or redfish, because redfish is one of their favorite foods, is of course a crab. And here's the DOA crab. Let's turn that over so you can see it. You know, it's a great little lure. It's overlooked a lot, and I'm probably one of the few guides that use it on a regular basis, whether I'm pleasure fishing or with my clients. I don't know, maybe it's just an overlooked lure, but I really like it. I enjoy it. It takes, when you're throwing any of these at fish that are feeding, soft presentation, accuracy. Just because you can cast a lure 1,000 feet doesn't mean you can do it accurately. So if you're coming out here to work on things and you're fishing and you're struggling on catching these fish, work on your tactical approach and then work on your accuracy. Presentation is a lot to have to do with it, Just like when we're eating our food, presentation has a lot to do with it. And then of course we're getting a lot of schooling redfish out here. And when you're throwing at 200-300 fish, 50 fish moving, you want that lure to drop down there, 2 feet of water, 3 feet of water. One of my favorite things to throw, of course, is the cow right here. And I've actually got this put on a weighted, I think it's an owner jig head. It's a pretty heavy weighted head there. You can get some distance on it. It's not really wouldn't want to use this too much for sight fishing, because once you throw it out there, it's going to make a loud presentation and splash. But getting it in front of the schools and all that, perfect. Again, and this is the Glow cow. I love these things. Man, I go through these things like they're going out of style. I got quite a bit of them on my boat. You can't go wrong with them. But, any of the soft plastics out there will work. As far as looking for these fish out here, what we're doing is throughout the day, I like to go after some tailors. You got that golden hour, beautiful sun coming up, go after some tailing fish. As the day moves on, start moving around, looking for your flats, looking on the grass flats, keys, bait fish feeding, birds feeding, a low presentation out there, meaning you don't want to go into an area where somebody just left or barreled through. Think of areas, well, this area might hold fish, but it's a running lane. Where's the sun at? Which way is that cloud moving? That kind of stuff you want to put into play here. Take your time. I can't stress that enough. Just take your time when you see areas and work onto those fish. Approach them just as if you would an animal out in the woods or something, and your catch ratio will rise. We're getting some really nice sea trout out here. Seeing some really great trout fishing. It's a shame when I see some of these bigger trout, 30, 34 inches, 32 inches, being cleaned at these boat ramps and killed. I don't understand that. Also, I beg you, please, everybody out there, write the Florida Fish and Wildlife, write the Wildlife Refuge here, and tell them your concerns. Tell them that you want to see the area catch and release. Tell them you want to get rid of tournaments out here. Tell them that you shouldn't think fish should be cleaned at these boat ramps. Tell them whatever you believe, whatever your beliefs are, write them and let them know. Also, for the trout, I'm asking you to write the Florida Fish and Wildlife Service. We need to make these a game fish status. And what that will do, that will eliminate the semantic rule of the commercial harvest of sea trout in the state of Florida. I'd like to see black drum a game fish too. And this way the commercial guys cannot sell them, because we have a law here that there's no commercial game sale. You don't see deer sold, you don't see largemouth bass sold, you don't see redfish, because they're a game fish, and trout should be a game fish. But we're getting some really good trout. A lot of the bigger ones are mixed in with the redfish following them. We're getting some really good trout, just pushing along the flats, and as we're searching for singles and fish, of course, you watch those sand holes, those grass, the off to the grass of the sand and the drop-offs. If you're just wanting some good steady trout action, take you like the pop and cork, or one of these jig heads, or put on a jig and a DOA cow or shrimp or whatever, and go out there and fish your 3-4 foot ledges and just throw them out there and blind cast the deeper drop-offs. And if you got kids or something, you'll stay busy catching them. Believe it or not, the past few weeks we've been getting some really good jacks. Jacks are always fun. I don't care what anybody says, they're a blast, and so are the ladyfish. So it's not always about the redfish, trout, and black drum, There's a lot of other things, especially for kids and family. You take an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 6-year-old out here, they're not looking for world record fish. They just want to have fun, So come out here and just, find fun for them. That's what it's all about. So basically, in a nutshell, the next few weeks we're going to get some great weather here. This is the time of year to go. Oh yeah, I forgot, for those that are fly fishing, we're getting some really great action on like crab pattern flies. Black crab patterns, shrimp patterns are probably one of the best out here. I was looking for my flies I brought down here. I set them on my truck behind me, and a little windy. I think the wind blew them off, so I'll have to look for them here in a minute. But any of those that are you looking to come, 7 weight, 8 weight, probably an 8 weight's your best way. Weight forward floating line, you know, 15-pound tippet leader. You know, you could bring a 9 weight. I wouldn't go any higher than that. You know, you can't go wrong with a 7 or 8 weight out here on the lagoon. Probably an 8 weight overall for Florida choice fly rod for saltwater inshore light tackle. So, all right, well, that's it in a nutshell. I hope everybody has a good Friday and a great Easter weekend, and be safe, and go out there and have fun and be courteous to everybody. Thank you.